Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffetis here from sunny Cyprus, and welcome to today's tutorial / instructional video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Stellar OST to PST converter and how I, a network or IT administrator, use this software to save me a whole load of headaches and basically make my life easier. Now, if you don't know what an OST file is and a PST file is and why we need to convert from one to the other, that's absolutely fine. The beginning of this video is going to be a tutorial explaining all of these terms. Now, if you are an administrator, you already know what OST and PST files are. You can use the timestamps in the description at the bottom of this video to basically jump to the section of interest and see how I use Stellar OST to PST converter and why I use it. So, let's get started with understanding what OST and PST files are and why we would want to convert from one to the other. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what an OST file is. We use Microsoft Outlook as an email manager on Windows devices. Now, through Microsoft Outlook, we can add multiple email accounts so that we can access our email, our calendars, so on and so forth, and these will synchronize with the server or download our emails, or we can send emails. Whenever we add a new email account to Microsoft Outlook, whether it's a Gmail account, a 365 account, a Yahoo, a Hotmail account, whatever account that is, you will first need to add things like your authentication credentials, things like your username, your password. It will generally find the server information automatically, but if not, like a POP3 account, you would add that information. All of that data is then used to authenticate you so that you can access your email inbox or your email account. All of the information from your email account, which you will see like your emails, your calendars, and this, that, the other, are now going to be encrypted in what we call an OST file. Okay, so what is the purpose of the OST file? Well, if we add 3 email accounts to Microsoft Outlook, for each email account, an encrypted OST file is generated, and it's encrypted so that basically people can't access your emails and your calendars and this, that, the other unless some criteria is met. So let's go see what that criteria is. So first of all, OST stands for Offline Storage Table. If we see here, we've got our OST file for one of our email accounts. So this is, let's say, my OST file for my buffetisn@gmail.com, which I've added to Outlook. After I have set this up, and to set this up, I would first need to sign into my Windows profile on my Windows machine. I would open Outlook, add my email, and put my credentials, my username, password, so on and so forth. And once all of that is done and my email is added to Outlook, it's going to create the OST file. Now, for the OST file to be read by Outlook, at least two conditions have to be met. First of all, it has to open Outlook using the same Windows profile which was used to add the email account to Outlook. It will have to have the same Outlook profile, and there has to be a connection to the server for that email account. So if this is a 365 account, it will have to have access to the Office 365 servers to authenticate my username and password. If any of these are not true or cannot be established, in other words, I try to use a different Windows profile to open an OST, it's not going to work. And that takes us to the next stage. So if any one of these is not true, for example, if there is no connection to the server for whatever reason, and we'll see the reasons why in a minute, or I try to open an OST through a different Outlook or Windows profile, the OST file will not be able to be opened and accessed, and this is known as an orphaned OST, or an orphaned offline storage table. This is a security measure to, let's say, ensure that somebody can't just go and copy the OST file from your computer and then just throw it on their computer and access all of your emails. Okay, so a lot of information about the authentication, connection to the server, the Windows profile is stored and is encrypted to create the OST file for a particular email account. Okay, so how can an OST be orphaned? Well, there's a number of ways. One of them will be mailbox deletion or inaccessibility. Now, for me as an administrator at the school where I am, we have a turnaround of a lot of staff. And that basically means that staff come and go, or let's say important email accounts like management email accounts. If a manager leaves, then we need to be able to back up their email account just in case later on in the future we need to access some conversation that they had either with the parent or some situation. Now, when we delete the account, then what happens? This connection can no longer be established. So even if I take the OST, I cannot anymore access the emails, okay? Because there's no connectivity to the server. Now, what I would then have to do is I would have to keep the email account live on my servers, probably blocked or with a different password, so that we can access the email account if and when needed or when instructed to do so. So that basically leaves my email server cluttered with a whole load of email accounts which are locked for staff that don't exist anymore. And that's not productive, and it is a bit of a headache to manage. So ideally, I want to be able to back up the emails easily, even if an email account is orphaned. Another reason would be profile corruption. So your Outlook profile or your Windows profile may be corrupted, and that OST file is now inaccessible because it cannot access the actual Windows profile. You're not signing in with the actual Windows profile or with the Outlook profile. You may change Exchange servers. It may be that the password and credentials change, especially if you've got multi-factor authentication and something goes wrong and it can't authenticate, then and you need to be able to access an OST file because an email account is old, it's lost, whatever the reason is, then that's another reason you would want to convert OST to a PST file. Reinstalling Windows, well, if you reinstall Windows of a machine of somebody that left and you don't have their Windows profile anymore, again, that OST is now rendered orphaned. And also, if the cached exchange mode is turned off, Outlook no longer uses OST, leaving that OST file orphaned. So that OST file essentially contains all the information, all the emails, calendar events, and everything, but it's now encrypted and it's orphaned. There's no way of accessing it. So why use Stellar? Well, as long as the email is active at this point here, so if your OST file does have access to the server and the Windows profile, you can actually export the PST for the OST to a PST directly from Outlook, and that will be fine, okay? But in the event where you do have an orphaned OST, Outlook will not export or convert the OST to a PST file. So the good thing with Stellar OST to PST converter is this. If somebody's going to leave, I can just go and take the OST file from the computer, I can delete their account, and then I can convert that OST or all the OSTs from that Outlook on that person's device and convert them to PST. Even if the account is deleted, even if the profile is different, it doesn't matter what it is, the file, the encrypted file can be converted to a PST. So that's why I use Stellar. But what does this mean? Well, when you have a PST file, which stands for Portable Storage Table, then that PST is a standalone file. In other words, it can be copied to another device. It can be opened in any Outlook program, irrespective of the Outlook profile. It doesn't need the same Windows profile, and you can open the PST on multiple devices. This allows me to take this PST, store the PST on a file server for all the staff that have left, and if we ever need to access a previous staff member's email accounts for whatever reason, then we can just copy that file and import it into any Outlook device of the person that's going to be let's say, reviewing these emails. Let's say, for example, HR manager has changed. We've got a new HR manager. There were some conversations from with the old HR manager. They can actually add the PST file, which I've got backed up in their Outlook, and just go see all the history of the email accounts and conversations that were had. And that's why I use Stellar, because even if the file is orphaned, the profile is corrupt, that encrypted OST file can now be converted to a PST, allowing me to delete the account, allowing me not to worry about if it's encrypted or not, and being able to share it with anyone I want, and they can access the emails. And that's a beautiful thing about PST. Okay, so why use Stellar OST to PST converter? Well, here's some of the reasons why I like it and why I use it. When you run the software, you have the option to list all the OST files which are currently running on the device where you have the software installed. So that makes it easy, but that's not the one I normally use. Normally, I would copy the OST file from somebody else's computer, let's say a staff member that's going to be leaving, and then I will bring that OST file on my device, and I will be able to select the OST file that I want to convert. It will allow you to recover deleted files. It's fully customizable. So what it actually exports as a PST, you can customize. You can choose to leave things out. For example, leave out the junk folder, or you can choose only to store emails from a specific date range, which will make the file smaller. You can convert inaccessible emails, contacts, calendars, tasks, notes, and journals. And another really good one that I really like, it's its ability to be able to batch export multiple OST files. So if a staff member has got 3 email accounts added in their Microsoft Outlook, then I can copy all 3 of the OST files, bring them to my device, and when I run the Stellar software, I can export all 3 at the same time to PST files. And that makes it just really convenient, and it's a big time saver. Now, what you're able to do in the Stellar OST to PST converter software depends on which version you have. And we're going to have a look at the different versions in a minute when we go look to see where we would go and download, let's say, the free version first, and see what the different options are for the paid versions. Okay, so this is the Stellar OST to PST Converter Tool website. I'm going to put a link to this website in the description of the video down below, so you can find this page really quickly. Now, when you go to this website here, you can see you've got the free download button here. So you can download the free version, which is fully functional, but it's only a read-only version. We'll see how far we can get with the read-only version once we install it and run the program. However, it will open an OST file. You will be able to view all the contents, but it will be read-only, and you cannot export unless you have a licensed version. Now, to see the differences between the licensed versions, you can click on the Buy Now button here, and you can see there are 3 licensed versions that you can purchase: the Corporate, Technician, and Toolkit. Now, depending on your needs, then you will have a look at this table here. It's actually very nicely laid out. It's got all the common features for all 3 licenses together, then what's available only for Technician and Toolkit, and then what's available only for the Toolkit. So you will decide which is the best fit for you. But all 3 of these, even the Corporate, I think is really useful. The only limitation there, depending on your organization, you can only do 5 mailboxes, and this is a 1-year license. Okay, so if you've got many mailboxes, you've got a large staff turnaround like I do, and you need to back up quite a few of these OST files, or you find a lot of orphaned files, should I say, because if they're not orphaned, you can get away with producing the PST file directly from Outlook. So maybe you might be looking at a Technician version or the Toolkit. Okay, so if I wanted to download, I'm just going to click on this free download here. The download automatically begins, and I can download the unverified file. It's just an unverified file. That's absolutely fine. And that will be in my download section. Here's the file which I downloaded. It's an exe file. So I'm simply going to double click on this to install the software. Click OK. Just a basic installation setup. Click on Next. Accept the agreement. Next. Default folder to install. Next. Next. Create the desktop shortcut. Yeah, sure. Next. And install. Now, it only takes a couple of seconds. There you go. Now, you've got the option now to launch Stellar Converter for OST. Now, you can leave that ticked, or you can not. I'm just going to leave that for now. Click on Finish. And you can see here, installation successful. And down here, there's the software, it's opened up. And automatically the software goes into mode, list the profiles or choose manually. Okay, so if I click on list profiles now, it's going to look at the device which I'm currently on, the one that Stellar Converter for OST is already installed on, and it will go and look for any profiles I've already got. So if I click on that, you can see I've got 4 profiles. That means I've got 4 email accounts added to my Microsoft Outlook, and I can select any one of these and click on convert and job done. But that's not the way I would normally use the Stellar Converter for OST. What I would normally do is I will have an orphaned file on a machine somewhere, or an email account that's been deleted. It can't be read and I want to back up all the emails. So I will go to the location where the OST file is. I will copy that and then I will bring it to my machine. So how do we find the location of the OST files? Well, there's an easy way to do this. If you open up Microsoft Outlook on the device, doesn't matter whether the device can connect to the emails or not. If you go to File, Account Settings, choose Account Settings, and then from here you've got Data Files. And you can see the path where each OST is stored, or you can simply click on Open File Location, and that will open up the location where all the Microsoft Outlook data files are. Now, if you've got the extensions, you can go and find the OST, but an easy way to find all the OST files in this folder is if you're using the details view, like I'm doing here, details, right click on any one of these tabs at the top, go to more, and then you're looking for file extension. And that will also put the column for the file extension as well. So here we go, file extension, click OK. There's the file extension. Now, if I click on this tab here, it's going to sort all of these files by extension type. So if I click on it again and go down to find there we are, OST. There are the 4 OST files. Now, if I want to back up one of these OST files, all I have to do is just right click on one of these. So not all of them, just right click on that one there, copy, and now I need to paste it. However, before I can paste it, and let me show you what happens. If I try to paste this now, this is my USB with a folder called OST files. If I try to paste it, I'm going to get an error message, and that's because Outlook has got this OST file open. Okay, so I'm just going to close that. Are you sure you want? Yes, I want to cancel the transfers. I need to close Outlook. And now that I have my files over, I can right click paste, and it's now going to copy the files over. So I'm going to fast forward. This isn't going to take long. You can see this is kind of quick, but I'm going to jump ahead until this is copied. Okay, here we are, nearly done. And copied 100%. So there's my OST file. That's how you will copy an orphaned OST file to your USB. Very easy. The bigger the file is, the longer it's going to take to copy. But this actually took approximately about a minute and something. So that's not too bad. Okay, so now that I've got my OST file, I can now move ahead. So I can close these folders here. So the idea is you will go to Stellar Converter for OST, and I can now, from the choose mailbox manually, I can go to browse. I'm going to go and find my file. There's my drive there. I should have my OST files here. There we go. And here is the OST file that I want to open. So I'm going to click on that, click on open. There we go. So it's saying profile list, choose, there it is. It's in this location here. I'm going to go to convert. Takes a short second. Now, remember, this is a 1 GB file. So the speeds right now, these are not so bad. Let's see how long the conversion takes. Again, the bigger the file is, the longer the conversion will take. Wow, look at that. It's importing all of the emails in, all of these emails coming in. Now, all of these are now being imported into the Stellar Converter for OST. These are all read-only, and while this is finishing off, I just want to let you know that this is, there you go, it's finished. Now that took approximately a minute, about a couple of minutes, not even a couple of minutes. So what has this done? It's read the OST file, it's imported it into Stellar Converter. Now please note, this was an orphaned file because we did copy it over, so this was an encrypted file, and now we can actually see all of the emails. So I'm just going to click on OK. And then from here, you can see all of this information. You can click on any one of these and you can see there, those are my emails. Okay, and you can read all the emails, and all of these are going to be, there you go, all of these are going to be read only. Okay, now this is as far as you can get with the free version. So you can import any OST file, read it, access it, absolutely everything, but up to this point you cannot export it to a PST. Now, so from here you can see you've got things like lost and found. There you go. All of these, and this is the beautiful thing. You've got all of these things that you can go and do. Lost files. You could, at the bottom, you've got these quick buttons, so you can go look at the calendar as well. All the calendar entries that might have been in there, your contacts, everything. Everything is imported. So that's as far as the free version goes. Now, if you want to convert these files into a PST, then you need to activate the software, and that's what I'm going to do now, because I've got my key. I will activate the software so we can proceed with the exporting of the OST to the PST. Okay, to activate the product, you've got a button at the top in the menu, activation. You're going to click on that, and you've got this activation key here. As soon as you do that, you can enter your key and click on activate. And there we go. My product is now activated. Activation is now complete. Click OK. Okay, so with an activated product, I am now able to convert this into a PST or any other file format, which you're going to see the different file formats now. So if I click on Save Converted File, I've got different formats which I can export this OST to. I'm going to leave this as PST and click on Next. Now, from here, I've got the option recover deleted items. So if items were deleted and you want to access them, well, you can. And if you want to auto split PST files, if you're not sure what that means, you can click on the little information there. It's going to open that up, and you can see the guide here and the information on this. So down here, if you have a look here, it says auto split. Checkbox is selected by default. Uncheck it if you don't want to split converted OST file. This option helps to auto split PST files at approximately 45 gigabytes in size. So if it's larger than 45 gigabytes, then it will split it. Okay. And so if we just go back, I'm just going to leave that open. Recover deleted items. No, because I want to make this process a bit quicker. In fact, let's just leave that there. Click now you've got the apply advanced filter here. So if I click on this, this now allows you to choose whether you want to include or exclude the junk email folder. Why I want to exclude that? Because, well, if it's junk, well, I don't really need to save it. I don't want a larger file. And do I want to exclude the deleted items folder? Yeah, sure, why not? And from which date to which date do you want to export? So I've got here from this date to this date. I can choose, let's say, only the last year. That's entirely up to you. I'm just going to go all the way back to, let's say, the last year. Okay, around about 24th of August there. Okay. You can choose to ignore emails from particular senders. So if particular senders, you're not interested in saving those, you can do so. Okay, I'm just going to click on next. And then from here, I'm going to go to OK. This is the folder where it's going to export the PST file. So this is my drive, my USB drive there. In fact, I'm just going to put this on my desktop. I prefer the desktop. Click OK. And I'm going to click on OK. And now it's exporting it's converting my OST file to a PST file with only the options which I gave. So let's see how long this takes. Okay, there we go. That's finished. So if I go now, look at my desktop. So here's my folder. There's my desktop. There is my PST converted file right there. So we can see what we can do with that in a second. Okay, so with that done, I can just simply click on OK. And that's it. I have now converted an OST, an orphaned OST, into a PST, which will now allow me to open that PST in any Outlook that I like. And from any Windows profile and as many machines as I like. Now, what I will do, I will back up that PST file on a file server and just archive that for the school. Okay, let's go see how we can now import the PST into Outlook to view the emails. Okay, before we begin with the importing of the PST into Outlook, some important information that we need to take a note of. First of all, we can only do this or should only do this using the Outlook Classic version of Outlook, not the new Outlook app. That's for now. Shortly, it will be available, or you will be able to do it from the Outlook app as well. But currently, if we have a look at the Microsoft 365 roadmap and we look for Outlook, and if you scroll down, or an easy way, you can just do a quick search for PST, you can see that the Outlook import emails from PST file to mailbox in new Outlook for Windows, we're looking at a rollout start in October 2025. Now, this was July 2025. It's now gone to October 2025. So it will be a good idea just to check the roadmap and see whether you can actually import a PST into the newer Outlook app version. But for now, we're going to be looking at the Outlook Classic version to be able to import the PST. So let's go and do that now. Okay, so here I am in Microsoft Outlook Classic, and from here I can open the PST file and view all of its contents. So to do this, I'm going to go to the menu at the top, click on File, Open and Export. From here, you want to choose Open Outlook Data File. I don't want to import all the emails into another mailbox. I just want to be able to view all the contents of the PST file, which was the original OST file. So if I click on Open Outlook Data File, I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I exported. So if I open my desktop, there's my PST file, the converted file. Click on that and click on OK. And now I'm able to view this instantly. It doesn't take long. And you can see it's created the new, let's say, profile. Here it's called Stellar Converter for OST, and if I expand that, I can now see my inbox. I can see all the mails in the inbox, and all of these items are the whole folder structure is there, all the emails are there, and that's perfect. Things that I chose not to import, for example, the deleted items, you can see that's empty because I chose for that not to be imported. Now, once you've done that, you can leave that open and you've got access to it. But remember, the Stellar OST converter is not going to retrieve or sync any new mails that came to that account. So this was the OST from my Gmail account. If I get new email accounts, that they are not going to appear in this inbox. This is only a backup at the point of time where I copied my OST file. Okay, so that's really important to know. The converted file, the PST file, is not something that's going to sync and download new emails. This is just for archiving. Now, you can have this PST file open in your Outlook, and whenever you close Outlook and open it again, it will be there. You will be able to access all the emails and the folder structure that you've got, everything from here. That's absolutely fine. But if you've decided you don't want to have access to it anymore for whatever reason, you can simply right click on this and choose Close Stellar Converted File for OST, and that's it. That file has now closed. And of course, you can open it again simply by going to File, Import, Export, and simply opening the PST file again at any point in time. So this makes retrieving or accessing archived emails really easy. And if you name all of these PSTs with the names of the staff that have left, then it just makes it so much easier to manage all of these old archived email accounts. Okay, so I've got one more tip for you guys, and this is to do with mainly things like synced drives. So if we go have a look here in my file, account settings, you can see I've got 4 email accounts, but these two up here, these are 365 accounts. So if I select one of these and I choose change, what this does, it tells me the cached period which it will have emails for offline. So if I don't have an internet connection, I'm able to see emails up to a year in the past. If I want to see an email which was sent, let's say, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, then I can actually view it from Outlook, but it's going to download it from the server. Now, these emails which are on the server and they're not on your local drive because they're beyond this period, they will not be included in the OST file, so you will not be able to access them in your PST file. If you want to create a complete backup for the entire time that email account had emails coming in and out, you want to move this slider over to all. And once you do that, it's going to synchronize all the emails from the beginning of time, from the creation of that account, anything that's on there still. And then you can, once it's synced and it has finished syncing, then you can go and copy your OST file and then convert it to PST. And once you do that, your PST file will have the email or access to all the emails, every single email from more than a year ago, from up to when that email account was created. And this is a very important tip, because I have heard people which have backed up their OST file to a PST file from Outlook, and they realized that after they deleted the account, a lot of the older emails were not there. And the reason why they were not there was because they forgot to put this to all, wait for that account to synchronize all those emails. Undoubtedly, it's going to make the size of the OST much larger. It's going to take a longer period for it to synchronize. It's going to take a longer period for you to copy that file. And it's also going to take a longer period for the Stellar OST converter to actually convert the file. But at least this way, you're going to get a copy of and a backup of all of those emails from the beginning of time. So a very, very, very important tip for you guys here. So I'm just going to move that back down to a year. Okay. Just close that. My Gmail account here, and usually other accounts, if you go to change, again, you've got the same kind of slider. There you go. It says keep mail offline for, and it's got it on all. If this is up to, let's say, 24 months, then it's going to keep emails offline. In other words, I will not need access to the server or an internet connection to see emails up to 2 years ago. More than 2 years ago, I will need an internet connection. And obviously, if it's my OST file is only going to keep emails up to 2 years ago. So again, if I want a complete backup, I need to put that to all and then wait for the synchronization to finish before I produce my OST file. Okay, that was a pretty big, should I say, tutorial slash instructional video. I think it's an absolute must tool for IT admins if you want to keep backups of email accounts, especially if you're in the corporate world or in education systems or any business where being able to access archived emails is important, and you don't want to have dead email accounts on your server so you can go and access them later on in the future. This is a fantastic solution. It's such an easy way to also give access to people to those emails. You don't need to activate email accounts and then set up the account and put a profile in Microsoft Outlook for them. You can just give them access to the PST file from a file server, and all they have to do is just simply go to the file menu, import, export, and just open the PST, and they can search the file straight away. So a fantastic and simple solution. A very nice solution from Stellar, the OST converter. And yeah, I like it. It helps me. It saves me a lot of time. Now, if you've liked what you've seen and you've learned something new, by all means, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you again in the next video tutorial. Take care. Bye-bye.